Hola, mi amiga y amigos. Oh, wait, we're doing the English version or are we recording the Spanish?
I don't even know if that was Spanish.
I don't know what that was. Spanglish? I don't know. So what's up, everybody? Crypto Street Podcast. This is your boy, your future Vice President of the United States of America, Crypto Dale, aka Dale. Dalezilla for short. Right, Prince?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Oh, that's funny. So thanks for tuning in. How's everyone doing tonight, Prince? What's the good word, buddy? Old pal?
Well, it's holiday season, right? It's holiday season. We've had Bitcoin moving higher, giving us a bit of a relief run. It's been nice. It's everybody's moods get up when the price goes higher, right? So it's
insta bullish. Yeah. Which, you know what, everybody listening, we're the most bullish trio out there. It's gonna go to $10 zillion. Let's party. Let's go.
We don't do none of that bear stuff here.
No. If you're a bear, GTFO.
Yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good. Whatever. It's fun. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's still, we're in a bear market, right? But when you get these rallies and people's spirits get up a bit and they're a little more enjoyable to talk with.
They couldn't tell with your tone of voice. Just saying.
Well, this is just me. This is
Prince. This is Daddy Prince coming to you.
This is me. I'm absolutely just ecstatic right now. I don't know. You can hear it in my voice.
You know what that made me think of is, have you ever seen that picture? I don't know who it is, but like it's the same guy making the same face, and like it's in a 3x3 tile, and it shows like the same face that says happy, same face mad, same face sad. So that's how I picture.
That's Daddy pretty Prince. That's pretty much me. All my emotions are in really just one little package. So
so probably our last episode that we're going to release before the holidays. So we do want to wish everyone a happy holiday. Get off the computer, the screen, spend some time with your family, friends, whatever you do. Hope it's a good one. Killer. Did we lull you to sleep?
Still here, still alive. Just the three amigos today, which is interesting. It's fun. I think it's great having guests, but it's good just talking to you two guys too. So
yeah, I agree.
We're excited. We're gonna recap some events and just kind of, like you said, it's probably gonna be our last episode. Maybe one more before Christmas, maybe not, but figured we would just recap the latest and greatest happenings in crypto before everybody takes a little bit of time off. So good to be here. I'm excited to talk about this stuff.
I agree. It's fun to, like you said, just to reiterate, love having guests. Without our guests that we've had, our show really probably wouldn't be what it is. But it is fun sometimes just to hear you goons speak more than you do, and not have Prince interrupting us all the time, and just kind of give him the floor a little bit.
Whoa.
You want to catch a shot
there?
I knew you were going to say. I said that because I knew you were going to say you want to catch these Hans.
To come to them.
These Hans.
Hey, and I do want to say something, Prince, real quick before we dive into this. Prince, I don't think you realize how jealous I am of you and your hockey.
I don't know, man. It's sometimes it's just a pain in the ass. So.
But we never got to play that here in IOWA.
You just wish you played hockey.
Yeah.
Oh, hockey's cool, right? It's a good game. It's a tough game. It's fun though, but I think vice versa. Like up here, we wish we had the kind of football you guys have down in the States. Like it's not like that up here. It's virtually it's
Canadian football. It sucks.
And even
football,
like the high school stuff. Like it's very high school sports in the States is a pretty big thing, right? Like it's a big deal. Up here, it's not. You don't play for a high school team typically unless it's a private school or something. You're gonna go and play for your, kind of your like region team, where you're located and all that stuff. So yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, Prince sent us a video like was it yesterday, a couple days ago, of like chilling on the ice, just kind of like jamming to some music, and I was getting some major nostalgia of just like on the ice rink with my friends as a kid, and I was like, oh, I want to be there.
Yeah, I was the only one out there. I was a little early at Pracky, and the guys then got locked into the room somehow, so I was the only one on the ice for.
I was wondering why there was nobody else.
Yeah, I had like 5 minutes to myself, and the tunes were going, so I was just enjoying it.
Were you doing like triple deeks and stuff?
Oh, what's a triple D?
Triple D.
I don't know. Isn't that from Mighty Ducks?
The Mighty Ducks. Yeah.
Is it?
It's-
It sounds deadly, but I don't know what triple D is.
I would
Triple deke.
triple deke your ass so fast.
Sounds like a sexual move, right? Like it
Yeah,
sounds
it
like
does.
some kind of weird position.
Triple
A
D
triple
with a
deke?
kick flip grind.
Yeah, something like
All the way
that.
down.
Or did we just combine hockey, figure skating, and skating there?
And sex as well.
And
Yes,
sex.
all of them.
Welcome to the Crypto Street Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. This is pretty
Ducks
much
fly
get used to it
together.
because we talk about this shit. But
All right, let's get on topic, maybe.
Okay.
that's a bold idea. Okay, I guess we will though. So, latest and greatest. So, believe it or not, there actually have been some consequential things happening in crypto over the past week or so since we did the last current event episode. It may not feel like it because the market has been largely shit, although it's been good the past few days. But some cool things happening. So we figured it would be good to talk about some of these things, recap it for anybody who's been too busy to actually read the articles and the news stories, and kind of give our thoughts on them and maybe give a perspective that the articles that you're reading on sort of the vanilla websites have not offered. So the first thing I would like to touch on, and this is sort of the latest development in a story that's been going on for probably 2 or 3 years at this point. Recently, Bloomberg put out a report that Tether is actually backed by fiat. They claim to have seen some reports or some documents with Bitfinex's bank that indicate they actually do have $1 for every USDT or Tether that is out there. I think they referenced the document from back in December of 2017 where the fiat lined up with the USDT, and a document more recently reflecting the past quarter that reflected the same amount of USDT and fiat in their banks. So again, this is a story that crypto's been talking about forever. The latest development, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
First thought is Bitfinex is just crumbling in pieces.
He's falling apart.
He is just in disbelief. If in that market cycle, psychology of a market, he is at the very bottom, which is wrecked. Like, unbelievably.
He's been going on this pretty hard for a long time now, and I like to, I like to feel pretty good that us at Crypto Street here, we never really bite into that, all that fun. Our whole thing was always, probably bullshit, but we'll keep an eye on it, right?
Yeah.
And it's turning out to be almost exactly that, right? It was one of those things that, it can create a really nice scare tactic, right? When the FUD, it's that's a great one to go after if you're an individual with bad intentions. So and I guess they did their job there in a sense, because a lot of people are still terrified of it, right? But where that goes now, I think it's going to be interesting what happens with Bitfinex. It's because I know he's pissed off a lot of people, like with Bitfinex, all that stuff. So I'd be curious, any lawsuits or anything like that, what might happen. I'm sure there's already been legal attempts to deal with him. But yeah, I just, who knows if we'll
he got doxxed, right?
Yeah.
Like he got doxxed like big time, like a couple months ago.
Okay.
I'm surprised he's still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's getting paid by somebody. It's like at that point, it gets to a point where you do wonder if, okay, is somebody like
someone behind this?
Yeah, because don't mistake it. Like, that shit happens, right? There will be people who will pay others to start shit all the time, right? It's a shady fucking maneuver, but people do it. And you know what? It wouldn't shock me if somebody maybe was behind the scenes who was just, for some reason was, did not like that crew over there, the Bitfinex Tether crew, and who knows?
There was a theory that it was like a Binance rep. He's being paid by
yeah.
Binance or Bittrex or something to basically sabotage Bitfinex, which has long been one of the biggest exchanges in crypto. And I mean, this guy is a relentless shill. So it kind of stands to reason, like, you wouldn't really have that much of a passion for this point if you weren't being paid. Because nobody cares about any issue this much, to be railing on it nonstop for a year. I mean, who would do that? Think about it. And there are some things I feel pretty strongly about.
A lot
I'm
of
not going to make it my identity.
Wrong, and yet so it's like, okay, you start to wonder where the real motives are here, right? Is now it's not just looking like, oh, a concerned individual. It's like this is somebody with, you know, and it's looked like this for a while. Somebody with a clear motive. You know,
Yeah.
So
I think the thing is, you know, based on the reports, it's like usually when there's a lot of smoke, there is fire, and there's been plenty of smoke around this Bitfinex thing. So I think like what I kind of wanted to dive into with this topic is like and kind of get down to is like, okay, if they do have a backing, then why all the shadiness still? Because it still is not like they've had like a full, clear, transparent audit.
yeah.
I mean, if they really did have the backing, would it be that hard to hire a good accounting firm like PwC or somebody
Right.
and go like, okay, we have this, you know, shut the fuck up, everybody. Like,
You know, and I
mean,
remember.
so why haven't they done that though?
Because this topic got brought up a few times, and I remember kind of just reading something from somebody within, you know, the industry of, you know, the accounting industry and auditing and all that stuff. Their thing was with crypto still and all this stuff, it's kind of just a mess. And so there's a lot of firms that just don't want to touch it. They just don't even want to go near it, right? Because of potentially, you know, reputational damage, you know, somehow, right? And so who knows if that is really what played a part? Because yeah, like there was that, because there was a thing of, you know, where's just give us an audit, right? Just, you know, show us you're legit, right?
Yeah.
You know, what's there to hide? And then all of a sudden that became a huge headache, right, for it to happen. Like, oh, you know, and you're thinking to yourself, well, it can't be that hard to get an audit, but yet it never comes out. And so, you know, I do believe that they, you know, over at Tether and Bitfinex, they do have good intentions. I don't, you know, I kind of, that's my assumption. And I just think, you know, maybe it has something to do with the, you know, the industry, you know, that they're trying to deal with, you know, to get it audited, and just a reputational hazard kind of thing. If something they fucked up, and you know what I mean, there's just, because there's still so many unknowns with crypto in general, right? And it's kind of you know, in the spotlight, everybody's looking at it, right? So
yeah, and you know, one thing I think possibly is, and you know, this is just me trying to be a conspiracy person, but you know, maybe they were switching some funds around to show that, you know, taking dollars from other places, maybe show that it is backed. Path is here in the troll box, and he says that they've got some big banking problems. He had a Great Britain pound withdrawal refunded after 9 weeks. So
yeah, and yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, you know, 'tis the industry dealing with crypto. You're going to have a lot of issues with banks, right? Like, banking issues are like one of the most common things when it comes to, you know, dealing with crypto, right?
I mean, look at ICOs who raised a shitload and like they're like, oh, we don't know where to put this money.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, and so it's, yeah, and that it's not exclusive to just, you know, individuals. It's also, you know, it's a headache for exchanges, and you know, so you know, it's just, well, I mean, they're dealing with
that
it.
implies that like Bitfinex is just being like super cautious, which I can kind of buy, but also like it still like raises some questions. Like, you guys are like a big established entity, like you don't have to be this paranoid. It still seems a little bit weird, doesn't it? Like, I mean, at this point I'm like not concerned about it at all. Like,
right? Like I've kind of just come to, I don't know, maybe it's a bad thing. You just kind of get used to all this, like some of the bullshit that goes with crypto, you know, no transparency on certain things, and you know, maybe that's like my own fault, and I'm kind of just adjusting to it. But to me, it's like, you know, I'm kind of like whatever with the whole Bitfinex thing, because it's, I just, you know, I understand, like you read about it and it's just, yeah, they have banking issues. They're moving banks, and that's a headache. When you're moving large sums of money, you got to open a new account for your business, and then you're dealing in the industry that they are dealing in. You know, that's a headache, right? And that's not going to be a quick transition. That takes time, right? It's never going to be an overnight, okay, it's dealt with. You know, the traditional finance ain't that quick. So, yeah, you know, I don't know. I still, you know, Bitfinex is still kicking. I remember when they went through that hack. It was a pretty big hack back a couple of years ago. And a lot of people didn't think they would still be around, and they're still kicking. So, you know.
And I think too, with how they all, you know, they're printing Tether, or so to say, quote unquote, printing Tether. You know, you saw that a lot, that it pumped Bitcoin. And I think that really gives people a bad taste in their mouth, or, you know, kind of associate printing Tether with printing fiat. So I think they, you know, they could probably just instantly just kind of rub people in this space the wrong way, because that's not essentially what what everyone in the space wants is something.
Well, somebody who doesn't have a clue is going to hear, oh, they're printing Tether, and they're just going to think automatically it's coming out of thin air and there's nothing backing it. And that was right? But now we're finding out, no, this actually is backed. And when those were getting printed, there was money flowing into, you know, their accounts to back them one-to-one. So it was, you know, for the most part, legit liquidity coming into the market, right? So,
well, and I saw in the article, sorry, real quick, Killer, is that the printing is that they did make 6.6 million in interest the first half of this year. So, you know, I don't take it for what it is.
What do you mean? Like they had like fiat in a bank and they're earning interest on that, or how did they?
It just said that this article that from Bloomberg said that, you know, Tether also made 6.6 in interest in the first half of 18. So I don't know if that's from a bank or.
I mean, Tether's not earning interest though, because like Tether's not like in a savings account. You know, I don't know.
That must be.
This was on Cointelegraph, is where I remember reading.
Cointelegraph is kind of bullshit. Sorry if anybody's listening. There's a lot of like sketchy articles on there. I don't know, but
yikes.
Anyway, I think we'll probably touch on the banking thing in a different current event, but the next thing I want to talk about, Prince, you can kind of take the lead on this, but the Coinsignals $8 million BitMEX blow up.
Yeah, this is I've been kind of just following this on Twitter the last few days, and just, you know, this has been kind of a ridiculous story in many ways. I don't know, maybe, you know, maybe take it as a cautionary tale in some ways. You know, it's like, so Coinsignals, you know, he competed in some trading challenges, all this stuff, and he would win them. And, you know, he showed, I think, you know, time and time again, he knew how to make a profit trading with leverage and using BitMEX. Apparently, though, his downside protection wasn't all that great it seems. And he got locked into a little bit of a bias, and he was pretty bullish when he should have been bearish, right? So when the bottom fell out there, what everybody thought was the bottom, when the ass fell out of Bitcoin, it fucking started tanking this past month. It sounds like he was caught on the wrong side of the trade. Now, here's where it kind of gets a little like, what the fuck were you doing? I guess he had a fund that he was doing where people could give him, he would take people's money from his private group, it sounds like, and he was trading it for them. And I guess the account got up, it was like $8 million worth of, you know, outside money from, you know, his group. And now people have been asking, you know, it's like, okay, hey, can we get our money back? Can we redeem some of this? And there's, you know, it's either, okay, yeah, just give me some time, or there's no answers, or he just keeps pushing it back. Like, it's like, oh, fuck, like, come on. But, you know, everything about this just makes me scratch my head as to, like, what the fuck were you doing?
Yeah.
Because, well, and not just, you know, and it really sucks if you're one of the people who gave him money. That really sucks. But from my understanding, it's not like this was legal in any sense. You know, it doesn't it doesn't sound like people were, you know, signing the proper shit and, you know, taking the proper precautions.
Well, I mean, the way there's no way, like, unless he's doing it through like an established broker dealer through FINRA, you cannot do this.
Exactly.
I mean, you can, but it's not on the right side.
None of these people know his real identity. It doesn't sound like, you know, it's all.
They found it from what I've heard.
They finally found it.
Correct me if I'm wrong too. Like, is this the Coinsignals who got implicated in the pump and up thing? Like,
it is
5 months ago ish. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, same one.
So, and then put out that retarded legal statement afterwards, which we tried to like. I mean, like, that thing disaster.
This whole thing is just really made, like, it's just, you know, you really shake your head like, what the fuck were you thinking? Because all of this is just extremely, like, if any regulatory body, any government institution found out about this, you're gonna be, you know, investigated. You're gonna have fines thrown at you. You could go to jail, you know, because it's illegal as shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is
totally.
And the people who were investigated, they didn't even know his name. It was just Coinsignals. That's how they knew him, right? Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you, like, oh, like, so much of this just makes me like, what were you thinking, right? And not just on his part of, like, literally, like, what the fuck were you thinking, Coinsignals, but also on the people who were giving him money. to me, that like, you know, I get it. He was showing, and you know, I guess this is the whole thing of being a confidence man in a sense, right? A con man. And I don't know if he truly is. Maybe it was his ego that really fucked him, and he's just doesn't want to own up to this massive loss he took.
Yeah.
Or maybe he is outright just exit scamming and says fuck it, you know, and he's just running with the money. I don't know, but you know, it's just, to even the people who gave him money, it's like, fuck, like what was going through your head that made you think it was a good idea at the time? Like, I get it. He played the act really well. He was showing he could make money, but to me, there's just such a huge liability you're running into, you know, because none of it is legally set up. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and what I kind of know about it is I've heard that the fund got all the way up to was it 1,500 Bitcoin, I think it was. So that you know, that's pretty scary in itself, if you ask me. And I think, you know, probably I don't really know him. The only thing I know about Coinsignals is the whole deal with the pump and dump thing on the beginning, and then now this. So I don't know, you know, much about him. I didn't even see that he won these trades or these trade competitions.
You know, he would put on public trades, and he had some pretty good hit rates. You know, like, because I saw them, I would see them, and yeah, he was, you know, fairly legit. Like, he could fucking trade, but it sounds like he had some flaws in his risk control, and I guess that'll.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I mean, personally, I think he probably just got wrecked, and the way that he went about telling his group or the people that he was trading the fund, so to say, is what probably raised a lot of questions. He tried that mentorship to try and get some more Bitcoin, which I'm assuming he was going to take that and try and grow it back, you know, and get people paid, like kind of like a Ponzi. Like, I don't know, Prince, if it was you that talked about Bernie Madoff that said, you know, that's kind of how his whole thing started. So
yeah, Ponzi's never start. Well, you know, okay, there are Ponzi's that start outright as Ponzi's, but there's a lot of times where they start very legitimate, and then the person takes a big loss, and their pride is too much. They have too much of an ego, and they just don't want to own up to it. And so all of a sudden, they've just entered themselves into a fraud, right? And like, it happens, it's a common, you know, factor for what starts a Ponzi scheme. Like, and it's just people's pride, right? So
yeah, I just think
another.
Go ahead, Killer.
I was gonna say, another thing is, like, a lot of these people get followings during the bull run when people are willing to throw money at anything, and it's easy to kind of get a loyalty among a certain amount of people when you can do no wrong, because anybody's a good trader during a bull run, right? So you can kind of create this sense of loyalty where you can capitalize on that trust you've been given and say, hey, I still know my shit. Look at my track record. I've been doing great. And the average person is not smart enough to realize, well, you're doing great because everybody's doing great, you know, because you literally can buy anything and you're going to make money. And I'm imagining these were probably connections that he fostered during the bull. And then all of a sudden the market turns and you're not Warren Buffett anymore, you know, and it's.
Well, you know, some of these trading competitions he did were during the bear run. So, you know, he was kind of proving he could kind of surf them. But yeah, it was, you know, and it was a big thing. And he wasn't the only one who got caught on it. A lot of people got stuck on the wrong side when Bitcoin broke support there at, you know, that like 6.4, 6.5K range it was in for so long. And when it went down hard, right? And it does sound like he was very much caught on the wrong side of it. And
I mean, honestly, though, like,
use BitMEX knows how much of a bitch that is once they start moving quickly. If you got a position and you don't already have your parameters set on, you know, where you got to get the hell out, you're not going to be getting in there to do it. You know, you're not going to be able to. You got to
realize too, like, if you're managing other people's capital, you can't view it just like your own, like, shitcoin stash. Like, the objectives change. You're responsible for other people. And this is why some of the regulations are in place, you know, where if you're managing outside capital, you have to be accountable.
Well, and that's the thing. That's, to me, this whole part isn't, you know, the thing that just blows my mind. It's not him taking a loss. You know, a lot of people got fucked on that move. A lot of people made a lot of money too, but it's more so just on, like, how the fuck did he get this much money in the first place from outsiders with none of it being legal? You know, it's not a legal entity. It's just.
Well, like, I totally get how he got it, because I mean, people were paying like $1,000 per month for paid groups during the bull. Like, people were throwing money at absolute bullshit. And I guess my thing is, like, if you were doing well during the bear, then how did you fuck up so badly that you liquidated $8 million in the past couple of months? You know, if you had the wherewithal to do decently during the bear, what the hell were you doing to liquidate that much money that quickly?
That's another thing, right? Yeah, you got, you know, you get very locked into a bias. All of a sudden, you're feeding yourself a narrative in a sense, right? You're telling yourself why your bias is right, and then even while the trade is going against you, you're going to still be talking to yourself about how your bias is right. And it, you know, it's a toxic mindset to get into as a trader. And I think everyone has at times, you know, they do fall into that. I think everybody does, and you kind of got to. And that's the thing, is being aware of when you're kind of falling into your own biasy trap, right? So.
All right, let's move on from this bullshit. Dale, do you have last thing you want to say about that?
I was just going to say, someone in the chat said something about Craig gave Coinsignals a shout out or whatever. And from my understanding, you know, Craig is, I don't know how many people know him, but he is a pretty good dude, and a lot of the stuff that he gives out is, you know, free educational stuff. I just think that might have got blown out. Yes, he should be, you know, having that much followers, you should definitely be careful of who you are shilling.
That's the tough thing about it, you know. Like,
yeah, but
right, they can play, and sometimes people who shouldn't be caught up in all of it do, and it's a lot of bullshit, right?
So, anyways, moving on.
Well, the thing is, like, we're all doing our best too. Like, a lot of these people have never met each other, so you're basing your opinion off of them, off of what you see on tweets. And people can present a good image, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're an honorable, like, person with integrity. You know, so I mean, it's a simple mistake, though. It's not like a malevolent thing. I mean, it's you know, it actually makes me think back to like the pumping up shit, you know, when all that went down and people were like, oh, you like retweeted one of this guy's tweets like 5 months ago, you're complicit in the pumping up. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, there was some absolute stupidity going on, and it's like, I mean,
honestly, there's
you need
been
to put
a
yourself
lot
in
of
people's shoes, and like, you can't
there's
always
been a lot of finger pointing on crypto Twitter lately. A lot of finger pointing, people trying to really go after others, and it's been kind of comical because the people who have been doing a majority of this finger pointing are themselves very much, you know, paid promoters, stuff like this. So, you know, and just kind of sitting back and watching all this bullshit, it's like, how do you find the audacity to start, you know, going after somebody else for some of the bullshit that you're doing, right? It's like, you know, so it's been a crazy past couple of weeks on crypto Twitter, just watching the kind of personalities that have really been showing themselves as of late. But you know, I'm taking a little bit of a break from crypto Twitter for the holidays, you know, because it's peaceful. But even still, I get dragged in to looking at what are some of these stupid threads, gotta say, and it never ceases to amaze me. So.
Okay, moving on. Next story. This is a very interesting one to me, actually. Substratum. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that, but they were an ICO that they raised some amount of capital within the past year and a half. Somebody will correct me on the exact date, I'm sure. Anyway, they raised a whole bunch of capital, and the project recently came out in the past couple of days saying that they are down to so little capital that they are now going to day trade that crypto they received to try to increase their capital. And we can have a field day with this one. So,
like, how
personally, I think it's
how do you get to this level where you've already started to see your funds just shrink like crazy, and then you get the idea that, all right, we're gonna go and we're gonna trade our stack back up. It's like, I can't. Like, just watching the video, it was just too much for me. I felt so, like, there was a part of me that was like, what is going on here? Like, I kind of feel bad. And then there was a part of me that's like, wow, this is like truly, like, you know, only the stronger survive a market, and this looks like a lot of stupidity right here. So, like, I don't know. There was, you know, I think what they said, they're, you know, at the time, I think Ethereum was around like $84 when they made this video, and how they were saying that they're expecting $60 to be coming up pretty quick. And within, you know, so this was on like Sunday, I think. And they were like expecting $60, and now, you know, we've had it over 100 today. Yeah, so it's just like, oh my god. So it's just comical.
Yeah, I mean, I think needless to say, it's a stupid thing. It's like
Oh,
it's mixing one problem with another because most
oh,
people cannot trade, and I think if you're trying to increase an amount to stay in business and you're day trading that amount, it's just like the ultimate of stupid money management.
management fuck up. Like whoever is just running that ship there, I don't know who it is, but you need a serious sit down and maybe reevaluate some things because it just ain't it just ain't where you want to be going. Smart business move? No, not exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is too, like, this is not just unique to Substratum or whatever this project is called.
No,
It's like this has been an issue with a lot of different ICOs that did not conduct proper money management when they
they
received
just
their ICO funds.
they just weren't as public about what they were going to be. If because they were, yeah, there's been investing. ICO funds being reinvested into other ICOs. That was becoming a pretty common thing to see. But to actually see them go on and like saying they're going to day trade it on the market, that's a new level of I don't know. That's just okay, guys. Okay, and to me, it's just icing on the cake was that they wanted to short more. It seemed like because they figured $60 was coming up, and then now it's up around 100, right? It's like fuck. Their margin, they're on leverage. They're eating a nasty loss there. So
Yeah, I think this kind of reminds me of there were a few ICOs that raised a whole bunch of capital in the end of 2017, sort of the last hurrah of ICO raises. And I remember them saying afterwards that they were going to diversify some of the amount they had received into things like stocks and bonds. And I also remember comments on that being like, "Oh, what are you, a sellout supporting the banks? Like you're going to diversify out of crypto?" And like, you people are so fucking stupid. You have no idea. Sorry, but like completely a prudent thing to do, and this is why. So you don't end up trading shit coins when you're at the last like million that you have.
trading
Like,
your ICO funds, yeah.
yes.
Fuck, trying to. Oh man, it's just like, and like what goes through your mind to think, it's like okay, we've just seen price go from like $200 to I think it was in the 70s at one point, and at this time it was like 83, $84. And yet Buddy still thinks, what, yeah, it's time to take these funds and we're going to open up some shorts and let's go. And it's like, man, maybe just wait a little bit. Like we've just dropped a lot. You might get a rally, you might get a bounce, It's like, but no.
How would that make you feel if you threw money at an ICO and then you find out they're day trading it?
I'd be so choked. I would honestly, I'd be more pissed at myself because you know what, ICOs have got, they got to a point where it's like, yeah, they, we all know that a lot of them are just complete idiots when it comes to dealing with any kind of money. So I think a lot of the responsibility has to fall onto the person giving money into these ICOs at some point, right? And I think we've reached the stage where you have to take responsibility for that. So if you find out an ICO you invested in is now day trading your money, well, I think that's just on you. You got to take a look in the mirror and just eat that L. Like that's a loss. Like that sucks. But
all I can think of is that picture of that guy looking in the mirror and pointing at it, being like, "You will not let your 5-year-old bully you," and I can just see something like that coming out.
yeah.
Imagine if that was the pitch, like during the ICO, they're like, "Give us your money and we'll day trade the shit out of it." Like, how many people would have contributed? It's
Zero.
I bet you if you know what, I still bet you that an ICO, if they would have tried that, it still would have raised a lot of money back during that.
Probably.
Back in the day, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because no one gave a shit, right? It was just get into any ICO you can because there's a chance you might be able to flip at least a 2x on it, right? At a minimum, you're hoping for a 2x. So, yeah, they would have still made money trying that shit. Now they wouldn't, but.
Yeah, I mean, investor protections do exist for a reason. And as much as we'd like to imagine this open financial system where anybody can do anything, there are some downsides to that too. So,
yeah, yes, there are.
yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Coinbase. So I think like within the past year or maybe about a year ago, Coinbase purchased a company called earn.com, which would essentially allow people to monetize their attention. So you could have like a fairly big, I hate this word, but influencer or like some knowledgeable person about crypto. You could send them an email for like $10. They had to respond to you, right?
Right.
Coinbase has recently again, they purchased it, and now they're kind of revamping it into an online course system where you can learn about crypto and get paid crypto to complete these courses. This was just announced today, I believe, or maybe yesterday. We're recording this on Wednesday. So pretty new, kind of interesting. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's cool. Anything to get people into it, right? Like, I think that's really cool. It gave it, like, you know, just completing these kind of educational, you know, tasks in a sense, learning about crypto and then being able to earn crypto. It kind of, you know, today it made me think of, like, when I first got in, it just made me think of like faucets, you know, the Dogecoin faucets, and like, just you weren't earning much, but you were just getting something, and it was kind of getting you into it. And I found it, you know, it just kind of gave me that kind of nostalgia in a sense. You know, it's like, where, you know, you can just go do this, and you're not going to earn a lot, obviously, but hey, it's something, and you're getting in it, and you know, I think that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, and what I like is they said that they want to go beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. I know one of their first tracks is what they call it, is you learn about 0x. So, you know, that's kind of cool. I think a lot of these educational things you see simply talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And obviously those are pretty well the bases, the foundations of everything. But, you know, there's still a lot to be said to know about other stuff out there also.
Yeah. I think, yeah, just the whole point of, you know, making, you know, a little bit of an education on, you know, a certain, you know, crypto, and, you know, giving them, you know, kind of that reward at the end, right? It's like, okay, learn a little something and you're going to make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's, yeah.
Oh yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I think, just like you guys said, anything that gets new people involved is a good thing at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, looking further into it than that, I don't know, but I think on the surface it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting move they did. I think it's cool.
Okay, final topic, fellas. We are going to talk about Coinbase recently announced that they will allow crypto to crypto transfers. So for anybody who's new to the scene, normally on Coinbase, you can exchange fiat for crypto or crypto for fiat, but you cannot exchange, let's say, Bitcoin for Ethereum directly, like you can on most exchanges. So they recently announced this capability. From my understanding, it's sort of like a shapeshift kind of thing, where it's like a super friendly user interface. It's not like a chart or like a graph, like on a Binance or something. But this is probably a long time coming. Yeah. So
I thought it was kind of funny because I think they had some interesting marketing tactics at it, because I remember reading like it was a 0 fees, right? They're touting it as. But no, there actually is a fee in there. But it's like, I remember, like, you know, when I first saw it, I was seeing like, oh, it was just this no fee conversion thing, and no, there actually is a fee, but it's, I guess, just deceptive, tricky marketing on their part. But it's still cheaper though, and I think that was their point, is like, fee wise, it's still a lot cheaper than if you were to, go from, you know, say Bitcoin to US dollar and then US dollar to Ethereum. You're going to be paying, you know, twice the fees as you would if you were just doing a simple conversion Bitcoin to Ethereum, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing I kind of took away from this, and this is like, it made me think of like a larger issue I've kind of thought is going to be a problem with crypto, is like, with all these different tokens, like I can't imagine a world where there are all these thriving, flourishing dApps, and people are like, I love this dApp. I just got to exchange this for like bullshit coin before I can use it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I do not think this is realistic. I mean, there's so much friction involved in having to get a different currency to use an app. I mean, think about how you use an app right now, okay? You go on your phone and you click the Facebook app and it's open, or you click the Twitter app and it's open. Can you imagine if you had to like first make sure you had enough currency to use the Twitter app? No, I mean, this is a completely absurd thing to me. And I think this is one thing that crypto really needs to figure out. And I know things like atomic swaps are on the way to make this more streamlined, but I mean, kudos to Coinbase for doing this. I think it's a good thing, but it still reminds me of a larger problem we have. I just cannot imagine a world where people are constantly exchanging currencies to use apps. It's completely ludicrous.
Donnie made a good tweet that he still thinks the only utility token that he'll see as having any value to him are casino chips. And And I thought it was that is just a perfect tweet. That is really truly a great tweet. Because it really made me think. It's like, okay, yeah, because there's true utility in them. You know what I mean? Like there is a reason you are using them. And the issue with so many of these utility tokens is they want you to use it for something that you don't really care about using. It's like you can probably go use something very similar to it without having to deal with any of that bullshit. And it's just a lot simpler, right? And so that is still a thing. It's like you got all these utility tokens, and it's almost like they're complicating a process that doesn't need to be as such, right? So
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think another thing it kind of made me think of is like it's pretty apparent at this point that Binance and Coinbase are the big players in crypto right now. I mean, Bitfinex sort of in the shady region, but Binance and Coinbase are like the main, like blue chip, like public knows about these companies, crypto companies. And this to me feels like a direct effort by Coinbase to say, hey, we're kind of relevant among some of that Binance crowd too. You like to trade crypto? You can trade crypto. Granted, I don't think it's the same thing right now because it's not like a trader focused thing like Binance where you bring up a chart and you're looking at the ratio and you're trying to capitalize on the movements of both of those coins. It's more just I have this coin, I need this coin, and you read the press release too. And Coinbase is like, oh, we were running into this problem where a lot of people really wanted to use the dApps and they didn't want to go through two separate transactions. I was reading that. I was like, who the fuck does this? Like, nobody's doing that. Like, nobody's using these dApps. Like, I was like, this is such bullshit. Like, I know it's a press release, but this is garbage.
Well,
like,
you know what it is. They've seen the amount of money that, Binance is making with all these different pairings. And they're missing out on a lot of money, Coinbase, because they have kept their selection, their options so minimal, right? Now, there was a time where I think it was kind of cool because you knew if people were going to enter the market, it was going to be focused on just a very select few coins. So that was, an advantage you could kind of play when you're, thinking about, where do you want to maybe make a trade or something, and where's, liquidity going to flow in from. But I think, at the end of the day, it comes down to just a business decision, right? Like, how can we up our profits? Well, let's add more pairings, right?
Right.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seemed like a desperate act by Coinbase to like get a little bit of that Binance crowd, but I'm not buying it. I mean, I think people new to crypto would buy it, but
yeah, to me, this has been in the works for a while, right? Like we knew they were going to be adding a bunch of coins. They weren't, staying quiet about that. It got pretty evident. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of altcoin additions, come Q4, right? That was always the assumption. So, I don't see, to me, it's just, yeah, it's a business move. They're gonna up those profits if they can, right? And,
yeah. All right, guys. I think that's all the current events we had. Is there any last thoughts you guys had in the market in general, or any of those events, or anything you guys want to leave the audience with?
I want to say something quick about Friday, Shitcoin Talk, who, we love them and need a coin. They kind of seem to be the two behind that, but they're having a huge
big day of streaming. Yeah,
big day of streaming. It's like 6 to 8 hours long, 25 plus guests throughout the whole 6 to 8 hours. Guests from all over the world. So tune into that if you can. One of us is going to be on it. We're not going to say which one, and we're not going to say when, because we don't want to give it away. So one of us will be on to kind of ramble about that. So check that out. Again, wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
One thing I do want to talk about with you guys real quick is we had them on the show once, but just kind of, and we're not being promoted to talk about this. This is seriously something I want to. Hero platform coming out on Friday. I don't know if you guys signed up for their beta or not, but I'm pretty pumped about it, to be completely honest.
I'm looking forward to this like the fantasy league type thing that they're working on, so you can put with altcoins.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be so cool. So I'm looking forward to it.
For those that don't know, it's kind of like BitMEX meets FanDuel. Solid team behind it. They didn't do an ICO, so I think I'm pretty pumped about it. Just kind of wanted to get that out there. Otherwise,
yeah, that's about it.
I'm Gucci. What about you, Killer?
No, that sounds good. I'm glad we got to go over that stuff. Good talking with you guys, of course. I feel weird doing a sign off. I feel like I should hand this off to Dale so he can say Hooskies for the boys.
Signing off for the night. Make sure,
Yeah.
make sure you head on over. As always, we appreciate all the love and support everyone gets. So head on over to YouTube, Stitcher. I don't know if we're on Stitcher anymore. Sorry, Spotify.
Yeah.
All of our avenues, iTunes, and subscribe. Give us 5 stars if you like what you hear. Tip your waitress. Hootskis are for the boys, especially us. Have a good holiday, guys. Take care. Be safe. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.